Alright, zombie survivalists, James with the Z.E.D here. This video lecture may be a bit long, probably will be, and it's on sound, but specifically on sound in relation to zombie survival, how we can utilize sound to our advantage, and specifically equipment and objects and other things that will be of great use to us that are a double-edged sword because they make noise. Now, zombies. Zombies are basically, they were once human. Now, you could argue on a biological level, some other type of level, that it's still human, at least the fleshy bits and bony bits and all that, but it ceases to be human. In any case, we perceive the world through sight and sound. Those are the two big senses we use to really perceive the world. There's others we have, of course, but those are the two big ones we use. Zombies are going to be no different. With that being the case, staying out of sight in general is an easy concept to get your head around. As long as you pretty much think they can't see you, you're pretty much going to be out of line of sight. And with zombies, it's even easier to kind of trick their eyesight a bit. And we'll talk about that in another video. But sound is a little trickier. Reason being is, in this type of situation, in a full-scale zombie epidemic, basically society is broken down. This is not going to be the hustle and bustle of everyday life. Power is going to be either very, very limited or completely gone. Which means the noise generated by said things are going to be gone. Which means sound has a lot less to compete with to be heard. So you have to be careful. Now, with zombies, the way they react to stimuli is different from how we would, and we're going to talk about it in terms of sound. When we hear a noise that's going to get our attention and make us, wonder what it is, we will usually turn towards the noise. We will scan the area, pretty much really just take it all in with our eyes. Use sound some more if we hear anything. And then, most importantly, we make a judgment call. We think. And we think about, is it worth it going over there and listening to it? Is it something dangerous so we shouldn't go over there and listen to it? Do we even care to go over there and check it out? We don't always go and investigate every noise we hear, do we? Unless, of course, you're security and that's your job or something like that. Zombies, however, different. They will turn and look towards the noise as we would as normal. But then they'll immediately go toward. There is no judgment call. There is no thinking going on. They just will immediately go towards the stimuli. Which is both bad and good for us. It's bad because any type of mishap in making noise, any little misstep or mistake, even if it's beyond your control, let's say debris just falls down from, let's say, some wind or something shifts and it just falls in your area, they will turn, look, and go towards it. Unless they're already distracted by stimuli, already pretty much, they will go towards it. We can utilize that to our advantage though, because we can create stimuli away from us to attract their attention. So, creating noise to our advantage. Think about a car alarm. Think about remote start for cars. Those can be activated at a distance, or in the case of certain alarms on cars, where if you hit the car, it'll go off. Can be turned on remotely without even needing to be the owner of the car. There's the panic button for some cars. But if you're pretty sure the car has an alarm on it, there may be a way to trigger it. And if you're able to do that at a distance, or remote start a car at a distance, let's say, it will attract them. Now, double-edged sword right here though, because cars, starting them up, less noise than a car alarm. Car alarms are loud. They're meant to be loud, obnoxious, and draw attention. That's the whole point of them. So while it'll do the job of attracting the zombies in the specific area you see, there may be zombies around the corner or a block or two away that are going to hear this noise, and if they're not already, busy with something, they're going to check it out immediately. So be careful with that. You may attract more zombies than you bargained for. But the best way to do it is with a rock or some other type of debris. Not too heavy, one about the weight of a baseball, maybe a little bit heavier, roughly around that same size. Even smaller as long as it's got that weight to it. And you're going to hurl it as far as you can away from you. Now, that sounds obvious, but think about this for a second. Where are you going? What route are you going to use to get there? Are you going to walk straight from where you are now to where you're going to go? Do you have to go around a corner? Do you have to go over some type of debris or like a bridge type thing? Think about that. And where are you going to go once you're done wherever you're going? If you're scavenging from a building, let's say, once you're done there, how are you going to get? Are you going back? Are you going forward still? Whatever you're going to do, think about where you're going, and then once you're done with the particular task at hand, where are you going after that? And once you have that figured out, which you should have before you've left, then throw the debris, throw the rock somewhere in the exact opposite direction of those directions. Again, don't go out and practice this, okay? We're talking about a situation in which society is broken down, a major disaster, major biological disaster, a zombie outbreak. Doing it now only gets you in lots of trouble, so don't do it. Now, that's utilizing noise to our advantage. Now, let's talk about things which are advantageous for us but present a problem due to noise. First off, let's talk about vehicles. Regardless if it's a motorcycle or a big semi-truck or a boat, whatever it is, it's going to create noise. Alright? There may be a few truly silent vehicles out there, like the pure electrics and all that. Even still, there may be some type of electrical whine, which, without the hustle and bustle of everyday life, may be noticeable. Point is, for the purposes of this video, all vehicles make noise. And that's going to attract zombies. So you have to think about a couple of things. Firstly, where are you going with this vehicle? They're only really good to utilize their speed and the fact that, there's no fatigue in walking when you're inside of them for going long distances quickly. So if you're going to just, go raid your local grocery store, scavenge for supplies, not the best thing to do. It may help you in getting a lot of supplies, but it's going to make a lot of noise and be more detrimental than do good. So once you figure out where you're going, where the car is worth taking, can you even get onto a major road or through the major roads to wherever? Can you get to your destination? Can you, with reasonable assurance, say, yes, I can make it there? I'm not talking about gas or anything like that. I'm talking about roadblocks, abandoned vehicles on the road, debris, whatever it's going to be. Can the vehicle make it to where you want to go? And I'm going to do a video in a later date talking about vehicles in terms of what would be good to think about for zombie survival. So if you're confident that you're not going to just become another part of the roadblock pretty much, or not going to just be part of the congestion of the abandoned vehicles on the road, and you can actually make it through there, if you're confident in that, then you got to look at, when you get to where you're going, you got to think about ditching the car. You're not going to drive it all the way to where you go, from one house to another. Because you have to always assume it's going to be just as bad where you're going as where it is now. So if you drive a car all the way up to your new safe house, so to speak, and then kill the engine and all stuff like that, you got the visual representation of the car moving plus the noise to attract zombies. So think about ditching it elsewhere and going on foot. Just think about stuff like that before you start taking a car and driving off, because while they can be great, they can also just be a nightmare by attracting more zombies than you want to deal with. Lastly, firearms. Classically, what we think about for zombie defense is guns, rifles, shotguns, handguns. That's what we think about. They create a lot of noise because it's a gun. It uses a controlled, small, powerful explosion to propel an object really fast. That makes noise. Now, get out of the fantasy island of suppressed weaponry. If you happen to have a suppressed firearm, that's great. Good for you. But most people won't have them, and they're not going to be purely quiet. Maybe a suppressed 22 is going to be quiet enough where it won't attract attention. But suppressed firearms, the whole nature of them being suppressed is that they're comfortable to shoot without ear protection. You won't damage your ears. It's still going to make noise, still going to attract attention. So with that out of the way, um, you utilize your firearm when you absolutely have to. Because think about every time the gun goes off. Think about like a quick blip on the radar. Enough times you're going to be able to pinpoint it and get there. That's how you got to think about it with zombies. Now, I'm not saying don't have a firearm, don't take one, don't utilize it. I'm just saying you really have to be careful. I don't care how much ammunition you have. You're just going to attract more and more zombies every time you kill one, and hopefully you kill one with every shot. Even then, you're just going to attract more and more and more for every time you fire that gun. So, really think about, is it worth shooting this particular zombie? Now, I'm a big fan of killing the zombies, because once the zombie's down, it can't ever come at you again and get back up or anything like that. But you have to be cautious. You can't just go out and just start shooting zombies every time you see one, because you're going to attract more and more. This is where those melee weapons, the improvised weaponry, come in to make zero noise or very little noise in comparison. So with that in mind, yes, guns are great for zombie survival, but the bigger the caliber, the bigger the noise for the most part. And then, going from handgun to shotgun to rifle, the noise difference is there from a handgun to a shotgun or handgun to a rifle, depending, of course, on the calibers being fired. And it's not just the fact that you're shooting zombies close. Even shooting zombies at long distance, trying to pick them off from a considerable distance, sound still travels, still carries. And there's always going to be the question of, are there zombies around me that I didn't know about, that were in a building or around the corner that I didn't get a chance to see, that you're alerting to while you're doing that? If you got a good sniper's roost somewhere, let's say, to get good field of vision somewhere high up, you can shoot zombies from 200 yards away in the head. Great. But what about the zombies that maybe a block or two away you didn't see? They now know where you are because you made a loud noise. The ones really far away may not register it as much, but the ones close up will. Just things to keep in mind. I know it sounds pretty basic and obvious, but when you get in these stressful situations, you tend to forget things sometimes, especially if you haven't really, ingrained it in your head. So hopefully this video will help it be ingrained in your head more so, and should you ever find yourself in a zombie outbreak scenario like this, you'll keep in mind some basics with sound, as far as how to use sound to your advantage and how to utilize things that make sound effectively if you absolutely have to. With that being said, that's it for this sound video. There'll probably be follow-ups, things more specific, talking about vehicles and things of that nature in the future. But this is a good primer, a good start to really start thinking about sound on a zombie survival level. It'll mean all the difference between staying safe or being found out. Not just by zombies, but even hostile people. So, remember, in order to have the best chance of surviving a zombie incursion is to have a plan and be prepared. So, have a plan, be prepared, and stay safe. Take care.